So here's just a general question about Igor Chernyshov, Quentin Musty, and Casper Howland for you guys. It doesn't seem like you guys feel that any of these three will make the NHL this year. But if you were to pick one of them, who do you think is the most likely and why between Chernyshov, Musty, and Howland?
Chernyshov.
Yep. Easy,
yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I would agree.
Yeah.
I think that his game is the most mature of the three of them. I think when you look at Halton, he's going to have to learn how to utilize his shot.
Sure.
And adjust the speed of the pro game and how to find ways to get open, find ways to be a difference maker away from the puck. I think his skating has improved in his OHL career thus far, but I think there's still a need to improve it even further there. Physical engagement is inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's a need for him to round out his game other than being that guy that's got that killer one-timer.
Right.
And I don't think San Jose wants him to just be a one-note player. They don't want a Mike Hoffman type on the power play and that's it, right? They want a guy that's going to be able to be a contributor in a lot of different ways. So I can't see him pushing for an NHL roster spot. They're going to want him playing, decent minutes in the AHL. They're going to want him getting power play time for sure. Musty, maybe last year I would have said that might have been the case, but I don't know. Maybe it's sounding harsh, but I would say that his game maybe took a little bit of a step back.
Right. You mentioned this on the show before. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that some of the positive things that we saw from him in terms of improving his defensive play, his physical engagement, I think all of that kind of reverted back a little bit to his draft year this past season. And maybe the light goes on. Maybe he's at training camp and he for lack of a better term, beasts out. But I think he's a guy that needs some AHL time. I think that he needs to figure out how he needs to play consistently to be an impact player at the pro level. Whereas Chernyshov, stepped right into the OHL and he was an impact player because he does a lot of little things well, and he found some instant chemistry with Michael Misa for that reason as well. He's a guy that I don't think has a ton of weaknesses in his game. I think that he is a very well-rounded player, especially in the offensive end. Maybe there are some things that he can do to improve his play away from the puck, in the neutral zone in the defensive end. But I think that he's somebody that supports play well in the offensive end. I think that he is a guy that can drive possession. I think he's skilled enough. I think he's smart enough. I was really impressed with his play in the OHL this year. And I think that he, of the three, has the potential to move the quickest.
Okay. Will, what do you think of these three?
Pretty much exactly agreed. I am most skeptical of Haltonen. I mean, I with him, it's like he kind of checks a lot of the boxes for, at the very best for me, like a long-term project, right? Like, I think his game is very limited as it is. Like, I mean, again, I agree the skating is better than it was, but it was, when he was a draft eligible, it was bad. And he was slow and not very skilled, but he could hammer a hockey puck. Like, he can shoot. And so it's like, but to me, the whole thing with guys who shoot really well is like, that's the end of a chain of events. And if you're only really useful at the end of the chain of events that everyone else needs to work at, then what value do you bring? Right. And so for me, that I agree with Brock. Like, I think he's a guy where you do need to see more engagement, use the tools that he's got more. And I think he's at best, like, you're going to see him complement some really heavy possession players. Like, I could see him kind of in the same vein as like a Klim Kostin with a shot, because but he does need to learn that sort of, I'm going to rip your head off instinct, because he does have that edge in his game sometimes. Like, I remember his draft year, he was throwing some big hits in a men's league in Finland, and you're going, I could see why NHL teams really like this guy. He can hit and he can shoot. The rest is a work in progress, but we'll see. I think he's an AHL baby steps up guy, and maybe he's in the NHL. Musty, I think the floor is similar with Musty, where it's like, but he's the type of player where I watch him and I just want to grab him by the shoulders and go, do you have any idea how good you are? Like, but because there are moments where you go, what is he thinking? What is going on in this guy's brain, right? Like, I don't understand. Like, the defensive end of things, sometimes moving the puck, he will have some mystifying moments where you're like, his head's not really in the game, but when he's ripping, he can rip. And so it's like, what are you going to get with that? And I find that over time, coaches, if you have a high offense sort of skilled guy, when they are unreliable, that's when coaches go, I would rather play someone more reliable without maybe as much skill, because I just know what I'm going to get out of them, rather than what Musty can be, which is a bit of a wild card. Chernyshov, I love Chernyshov. I think he is a great example of the type of player that I think Halttunen could be, where it's like he complements and augments guys like Will Smith. Will Smith is another one, but Michael Misa too, William Eklund. Like, I think he complements those types of players so well with regards to, if you need a guy to help you out, take some pressure off you in the offensive zone, or entering the offensive zone in the neutral zone, he can skill it up. He can make a play. He can go to the net. He can shoot from mid-range. He can power down low and do all the things you need a forward to do pretty well. So